Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried and Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. Thank you for tuning in once again, and thank you for believing in me and for all the support. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So I can't thank you guys enough. I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors. You guys are amazing. Thank you also for believing in me. And because of you, you've helped me push this podcast worldwide, which is really amazing to me. I just pinch myself. And it's also because of the amazing guests that I have come on. And today's going to be no different. We have Natalyn Lewis, Natty, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Natty is joining us today. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, seriously. You came recommended by a mutual friend of ours, Amy, who's an amazing person in her own right. And, you know, if she says she believes in someone and loves what they do, I listen. Because Amy's no joke, right? She knows what's up.
She definitely knows what's up. She has taught me a great deal in my life.
Yeah. Well, so Natalyn, I found out, you know, you're currently at Level Up EQ. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Where you train coaches, athletes, people, you know, groups about emotional intelligence. And I think a lot of times when we say that, emotional, people might be going, well, what is that? What does that mean? We're going to get into that.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
You're married, you have a beautiful family, beautiful kids. You're driven, you're passionate about what you do. You've played sports, you've coached sports, and I mean the list goes on. But I want my listeners to hear it from you, and so we're going to just go through everything you've done, and I can't wait for our listeners to hear it.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's dive in.
So why don't we start? I like to just start like for people to get to know some background on you. Tell us where you grew up and maybe a little bit about your childhood.
I grew up in Idaho Falls, Idaho, a family of 6, and I'm the youngest, right? So that tells a lot about me right there.
Right.
I had 5 siblings, right? 1 boy, all girls, and 1 bathroom, which also speaks volumes as to how I grew up.
Absolutely, yeah.
I grew up as an athlete, loved sports. If it had a ball and movement and activity, I was all over it.
Right.
I played everything from volleyball, track and field, to softball, soccer, basketball. I just loved to compete, and
awesome.
That was my passion. It kept me busy and out of trouble.
Yeah, that's good. So did your other siblings play sports too, or?
Yeah, I had my brother played soccer, and since I was born, and he was the second oldest, and now we get down to number 6, and it's another girl. This is when my brother says to my parents, do not bring it home. Right? Like, I can't take another one of these. But they actually let him help name me. They let him be the only one that got to come to the hospital. And so he kind of adopted me as his little buddy. Okay. And because of that, I think is what really drove me into sports. He played soccer, so I played soccer. And just love him and grateful for the influence in my life.
Yeah, I love that. So what were some other things? Like, I mean, as a child, how did you kind of carry yourself? I mean, what I see now is this confident, passionate woman. Were you always like that, even younger too, or?
Oh, heavens no! When I was in the 7th grade, which we all know is a socially defining time of life, I was vertically challenged. I was horizontally blessed. I had acne. I had braces. I had glasses. I had bad hair. You know, I was socially awkward because I was this tomboy who grew up with my brother, and now I'm in the 7th grade, and you're supposed to, you know, have relationships and I'm all of a sudden starting to like boys, but I have no idea what that looks like to actually like a boy and not be competing against a boy, right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
And I'm just as awkward as they come. You know, I had the self-esteem the size of a pea, and I grew up with this 1 bathroom and 5 sisters, no time to get ready in the morning.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I preferred it that way because I didn't want to look at this in the mirror, right?
Okay.
So I had that kind of mentality, and what happened to me is I had little experiences along the way that started to help me understand that it wasn't about my circumstances, and it wasn't about what I looked like and whether I could grow taller or whether I could get thinner or whether the acne would ever go away or my bad hair would ever grow out. It was about what I thought of myself and how I
Yeah.
saw myself.
Yeah.
And I had an experience in the 7th grade where I went into the bathroom where my older sister had been getting ready, and she had left the music on far too loud, which was a typical instance.
Sure, yeah.
And I walk in there to do my bad hair with my glasses and my and I can barely see the mirror because I'm really short, right? Like, just the whole situation is a problem. And there's this song playing on the radio, and it was "I'm Too Sexy for My Love." Right? We've heard the song before,
yeah.
but I'm doing my bad hair with my bad braces, my bad glasses, and my just. Something happened, you know? I went to school, and it was just like everything was a little brighter. Everything was a little better. I had people making comments like, "What's up with you today?"
Really?
And I just had this realization that the only thing different about me that day was not my acne or my braces or my glasses or my height
Yeah.
or my width. The only thing different is I was too sexy.
You're right.
That day, I
Yeah.
was too sexy. And I started to have this realization that what I thought of myself
Yeah.
could actually impact how I felt about myself. It couldn't necessarily change these things.
Right. Yeah, right.
I couldn't force myself to grow,
Yeah.
but I could be happy.
Mm.
I could be happy because of how I saw myself.
Really.
And I just grew up having little moments
Yeah.
that started to establish these belief systems. Little moments that started to recognize that our circumstances don't define us.
Wow. Love that. And is it fair to say not only was it starting to cultivate some powerful belief systems, you were also maybe getting rid of some ones that were holding you back?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And I think of so many times when we're growing up and we just are going through life's circumstances and we hold ourselves back because of different things that we've gone through.
Right.
And I was fortunate. I grew up in a household with 2 parents, and I recognize that that's kind of an anomaly now. And
Yeah,
I
right.
feel
Yeah.
extremely blessed for that. But I grew up with a father who didn't say very much, but he was also an athlete and a competitor.
Okay.
So I grew up in one of those households where if my mom was yelling things at games, it was mortifyingly embarrassing because she didn't know what she was talking about. But bless her heart, she showed up to everything and
Yeah.
she yelled real loud.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Kick it hard, right? And then I grew up with a father who didn't say much, but I knew he knew what it felt like to be in my shoes.
Okay.
And what he didn't say spoke volumes.
Really? Okay.
And I had one particular experience in high school where I was playing in the state championship soccer game. And I was, at that time, I was committed to go play college soccer. And all eyes were on me. And there was a big fat target on my back because we're in the state championship game.
For sure.
I got a job to do. I got to score goals. And the game started, and we're about 30 seconds into this game. Ball goes flying down the field. I go flying down the field after it, and this defender comes from behind, slide tackles me, down I go. And she jumps over the top of me and lands her cleat on my knuckle.
Oh.
And you could actually hear the sound as my knuckle is being destroyed, broken into pieces.
Oh.
And I'm on the ground holding on to my fingers like, have mercy. My eyes are watering.
Right.
I'm in significant pain. She's only about 5 yards away from me, but she gets to the ball and she goes to kick it. She does not clear it as expected, and it nails me in the face
Oh my gosh.
and breaks my nose. So we are 30 seconds, 1 minute into the state championship game, senior year, all pressure on me, and I now have a broken finger and a broken nose. And I come off the sideline like I'm feeling so sorry for myself.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I mean,
It's understandable.
life has just dealt me a bad hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I look over and my dad is walking across the field with his hands in his pockets. Not like a concerning father, but like a what are we going to do about this kind of look, right? And he comes over and he literally says, "Let me see your hand." Puts some tape on there. He said, "Let me see your nose." And he puts one finger on one side of my nose and one finger on the other. He said, "This is going to hurt a little bit."
Oh, no,
And he
don't tell me.
pops that thing
He
into
did?
place and threw tape on it. Then he stands back as if to survey his work, right? And says, "Well, that'll do." And I was like, "That'll do what?
serious?
Are
Oh.
you kidding me?" It's like child abuse to send me out on that field. And he said, "Look, it's your senior year. It's the last game of the season.
Yeah.
You got teammates relying on you. What are you going to do about it?" Well, at this point, I'm just ticked off that he even thinks I should go back
Sure.
out there and play. So I go out there, I run around, but you can actually, when you break something, you can feel the pulse.
Oh, yeah.
And I could actually count my heartbeat in my nose going pa-poo, pa-poo, pa-poo. My fingers going pa-poo, pa-poo, pa-poo. And I'm just dying on this field.
Oh my
and the
gosh.
same girl who broke my knuckle and broke my nose hits me, and I fall over and I just start to cry. Coach subs me out. I'm sitting on the sideline, and here comes my dad. Hands in his pockets, not saying anything.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, I went out there. He didn't have anything to say to
Yeah,
me.
what's he going to say now? Yeah.
And he comes over, and I just let him have it, you know. Dad, I went out there. I did my best. And he said, you did what? I said, I can't believe you expect me to go out there and play. And he said, I can't believe you don't expect it of yourself. That was the entirety of the conversation.
Really?
And I just sat there thinking,
Right.
for the love, right? Now I go out there, but now I'm just like focused. And I get out there, get the ball, screaming down the field, shoot, score, turn around as if to look at my dad and be like, there you go. And he looked right at me and said, exactly.
Whoa.
And again, those little moments, right?
Man,
Those little moments where you start to realize we are all going to have life situations that are going to kick our trash. They're going to break us up. They're going to bust us in the nose and break our knuckle. And we're going to be feeling the pain in every facet of life. Wow. But there's a little piece inside of us that screams to us, you can do this. Wow. Your circumstances don't define you. You can move past these moments of pain.
Yeah.
And you can do this. Focus on something else. And what I learned from that was when we are focused on our pain, that is all we will feel.
Exactly, yeah.
When we're focused on our circumstances, that's all we'll see.
Yeah.
But when we change our focus, when we really latch on to who we are and what we're capable of, wow, we are powerful beings. And we just don't always give ourselves credit for that.
Right. Wow, what an incredible story. Thanks for sharing that, man. I'm getting emotional. Hey, man, because I think we can all relate where those moments where I can't do this. And then you have this angel in the moment going, I can't believe you don't expect it of yourself.
Yeah.
He said the exact thing you needed to hear.
Yeah. And
right?
I needed to hear it.
Because he could have easily said, yeah, this has been rough. Just sit out. You're good.
Oh, yeah. He could
We're
have
good.
he could have totally rescued me. But he didn't.
But he didn't. That is so powerful. Well, you know, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, you're very passionate about belief systems. And when I hear that, man, we're friends automatically. You're one of my best friends now because I am passionate about belief systems as well because I've been there too where I've had to go through some really difficult things. So that's maybe why I got emotional with what you were saying. So, I mean, obviously you go through high school, you have that experience. You went on to play some college ball.
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
At that point, you get to college. Are you thinking, are these belief systems are now kind of starting to be more cemented in? Like, you know what? I do believe in myself. I mean, obviously, no one's perfect, and we still have doubts and things like that. But where were you at on that level when it came to college?
Well, I am extremely grateful for playing in college. I played college soccer, and my freshman year is probably what set me on the trajectory for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And it was the emotional roller coaster of hell. And much like everything in life,
Yeah,
the really great parts come on the other side of the really tough parts.
Yeah.
And so I come in my freshman year, and anybody who's been an athlete would understand this, but you come in and you're recruited to play because you're at the top of your level and the team you're on.
Yeah.
But then you show up and it's like everybody was at the top of the level on the team you're on.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it felt like to sit the bench. I didn't know what it felt like to not be the best player on the team. I'd never experienced that.
Yeah, true.
So you show up and now, you know, maybe you're getting some playing time, maybe you're not. Maybe you're sitting the bench, maybe you're not. I started out and I played my first 4 games, scored goals. I'm thinking, welcome to the next level. Here we go. Let's get it going. Right. And then game 5, I sat on the bench, didn't play a single minute. And it rocked my world.
Yeah.
Rocked my confidence, rocked my belief in myself, rocked what am I doing here? I'm far from home. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I don't know what I'm doing. And when you define yourself so clearly by something you do and not by who you are, you set yourself up to get rocked pretty hard by life.
Yeah.
We are not what we do. We are not what we have done. We are not what we will do. We are not what we do on a daily basis. We are who we are. And we bring that person to the party.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. my freshman year, and I defined myself by my capacity to play a game. And when I wasn't playing that game and when I wasn't starting, it really rocked my belief in who I was.
Yeah.
And I realized that the rocking that belief in who I was also rocked the foundations of my belief system. And going through that process and really figuring out who I was and what I believed in and the fact that I could do this no matter what started to change everything. We were halfway through the season, and I will never forget this game. It was a life-changing moment for me. Well, we're sitting on the bench, and I'm going through, and in my mind, I'm just miserable.
Yeah.
I'm playing the game that I love at a place that I love, with my education paid for.
Yeah.
Where my job is to show up and play a game. Right? Like, I mean, things could be worse.
Right.
And I'm sitting there miserable, literally like having this out-of-body experience, looking at this pathetic soul sitting on the bench thinking, what is wrong with you? Could you just for a second look at your life and think, what are the positives? And I just started counting all the things I was grateful for.
Wow.
And in that moment, I got subbed in. And prior to that, in all the games I'd been subbed in, I played like terribly. Because why? Where was my mindset?
Because you were,
my mind is over here, and I'm not good enough. I'm not capable enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fast enough. So how am I going to play the game?
Right.
Not good enough, not capable enough, not strong enough, not fast enough. But I was on this bench having this like personal moment of gratitude, and I get subbed in. I wasn't even paying attention to the game, unfortunately. But I get subbed in, and now I go out there, and I'm playing from this place of gratitude, and I played unbelievably well.
Wow. Came
Came off the bench, and I thought, holy smokes, like that was fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't even care that I hadn't started. I just loved that I got to go on the field.
Yeah.
And the next game, I decided I was going to do that on purpose, and I got a little more playing time. And the next game, I decided I was going to keep doing that on purpose, and I got a little more playing time. And by the end of the season, we're getting close to the conference tournament, and I'm playing more than 50% of the game, but I'm not starting.
Yeah.
So I go into my coach. I said, what's the deal here? Like, I'm playing, I'm contributing, but I'm not starting. I want to start. And she said, we can't afford to have you start. I said, what does that mean?
Like,
she goes, I've never seen anything like what you bring to the field. You are a spark plug. Because we can start a game with anybody. Right. But the second you step on the field 15 minutes in, we take our game to a new level, and they can't hang with us. And she said, we need you as a spark plug. And I realized that I had taken on myself this identity, an identity of a sub.
Right.
But really, the second I took on the identity of a spark plug,
I love that.
Things got real, right? And how many times do we do that to ourselves in our daily life? We take on an identity, and we act like that identity, good, bad, or ugly.
Right.
But what if we just shifted it ever so slightly? Yeah. What would that do?
Right.
I had an opportunity to coach a woman this week. She's a mother, and she also owns a business.
Okay.
Really struggling with the balance and the battle. And she said it was just taking her forever. Every time she made an Instagram post just to put out there for her business, like 2.5 hours of work.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm just miserable doing this.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. I said, well, what parts do you love? And she loved being a creator. She loved being creative. She loved bringing solutions to real women with real problems.
Yeah.
I said, well, why isn't that your identity? You're over here so busily calling yourself a businesswoman.
Right.
You don't even like businesswoman.
Right, yeah.
Why don't you call yourself a creator? And next thing you know, I mean, she's putting out content left and right. Her numbers are soaring. Her sales are increasing. All because she took on a slightly different identity. And that is what college soccer taught me. It taught me that I am who I am. I'm not what I do.
Yeah.
And when I own that identity and take it into all parts of my life, I started to be a spark plug in the classroom. I started to be a spark plug at social functions, right? I started to be a spark plug in my relationships.
Yeah.
And man, it was really interesting because as soon as I started to own that and really live it, fascinating how many times people would say, it's like there's like a spark in the room when you walk in. Like there's an energy. And I started to realize we get to create who we are.
Yeah.
And then we get to just live that in every facet of our life.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that?
That is cool.
And that's where I really learned that, was playing college soccer. And so I am extremely grateful for my freshman year.
Yes.
The roller coaster of emotional hell that I rode, I'd ride it over and over and over again for the lessons it taught me.
Wow. Well, you're a spark plug. I'll tell you that. I'm feeling it right now just talking. You are so well spoken, but I can feel the passion behind your words. I mean, honestly, anyone listening to this right now, go, yeah, she is a spark plug. You are. I love that. You get to create that. Wow. I'm sorry, I'm just a little speechless right now. I'm just so blown away. How simple yet how powerful that is.
Yeah, it's the tiniest shifts, and
It's
you'll
just
see
a
it
little
every day.
shift.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a little shift. You have people
Yeah.
who are struggling right now to just be a mother. But why is that? It's not because moms are a bad thing. I'm a mom, and I love being a mom. But I'll tell you what, I shifted who I was. I'm not just a mother. I'm a present and fun mother of boys. I changed my statement because anybody who has teenage boys knows if you have this picture of motherhood, that means your household is put together all the time.
Right.
And dinner tastes good every night, right? And your laundry's always done. Try living with 3 boys.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what happens when they come home from school. They will consume anything that has a caloric impact. They will use way more cups than anybody needs to use.
Yeah.
There will be a disaster, and they have cycled through the kitchen for 5 minutes, right? And then you're trying to have a moment with your family, and a wrestling match breaks out, and there's no way to predict or control these things, right? And I realized I was defining my success as a mother based on whether or not I was keeping my house clean or managing these boys.
Yeah.
But I realized when I took on the role of being a present mother of boys, just that slight shift in identity made it so that as long as I was there and I was with them and I was allowing them to be boys and allowing myself to be a mother of boys and all the beautiful chaos
and
that
everything
presents,
that comes with it,
all of a sudden my fulfillment and my joy as a mother was so much greater because I let go of this identity of this perfect mom with these perfect houses and maybe if you've got all girls you could pull that off, but I can assure you if you have boys that is not happening. It is not your reality, right? So I just think it's such a powerful principle that we get to create who we are, and we are not defined by anything other than that, but slight shifts make big differences.
Wow, beautiful. God, there's so much I want to ask you, but I know I want to get to this. You were a coach for 20 years.
Yes.
And because you understood belief systems so well, you credit that for the success that you had as a coach in your
absolutely.
teams, fairly. So talk a little bit about that and what was kind of like, what were you trying to teach these kids? I mean, that's a big question because there's probably different lessons for each kid that you touched their lives with, but is there anything you could share with us in that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I took on a team. So I came in as a high school coach and took on a team from a high school that had never won more than 2 games in an entire season. And this is the team that I've been handed. And I show up to I knew I was taking the position this season right before. So I showed up to their last game of the season and I watched them play. And I kind of knew some of these girls and I thought, there's a reasonable amount of talent here. They can't put this thing together. So we show up to tryouts and the girls show up and I'm thinking, we got a pretty decent team. So we put the team together. We go out there and I'm thinking, we're going to be pretty good. I know this sport pretty well. I've coached.
Yeah,
we're going to be pretty decent. Yeah, we're going to be decent. We go out there and we're at a 0-0 game all the way until about 7 minutes left and they scored on us. The score ended 8-1. And it was at that moment that I realized these guys are not winning games because they're not physically capable or talented enough. They're not winning because they believe they will lose. And they're not playing to win. They're playing not to lose.
Yeah.
And so the following day I showed up to practice with a contract. And the contract stated
I love this.
that we will win the game or we will run until somebody pukes. And they get to sign it or not show up the next day. This is how we're going to do this.
This is how we're going to change this.
And the only reason I did that is because I knew I couldn't walk up to those girls and say, you can do it. Everybody's been telling them they can do it. I needed them to focus on something else long enough to establish some belief in themselves. So we show up to the next game and they are determined to win. They are playing to win because they don't want to run.
Exactly. Right.
And I got outside and we win this game and the girls are like, holy.
Yeah.
And we played again and we won again and we played again and we won again. And then we played and we lost. I said, on the line. They said, but coach, we've been winning. I said, you win or we run until someone pukes. And we ran after the game until one of the girls threw up.
And this is after the game.
This is after the game.
This isn't like at practice the next day.
It was just a little bit. I promise there was no children's lives were in danger. What happened is we won every game the rest of that season until we got to the state round when we lost. And I did not make them run then. But they won their first region title, and they had a nearly undefeated season. Lost 2 games the whole season. They had never before won more than 2 games in the season.
Right.
But the shift happened because I gave them something else to focus on until they could establish belief.
Yeah.
Something else to focus on until they knew it could be done.
That it was possible.
And there is so much power in what we focus on. What we can accomplish when we shift that focus will shift our entire dynamic of our belief system.
Yeah.
If we've got time, I'll share a little story here about this. But
no, please, no. This is fascinating. Keep going.
This takes us back to when I was an athlete myself. So
Okay.
I was playing basketball, and I'm in the 7th grade. Back to my socially awkward time, and I had just gotten braces on. And that's the first day I've had these braces on, right? And we all know if you're wearing braces, you end up like, I mean, these kids walk around, their lips are coming over their teeth, like they don't know what's going on. Yeah, they're poking out, they're doing this whole thing, and they look, we all look stupid. If you've had braces ever, you look
everyone
like
can relate.
Yeah, you can relate. Yeah. You feel like your brain is like, wait, I can't close my lips anymore because I got to go out and around those things that are inhibiting my closure. So this is what I'm playing like. I have a basketball game the day I got my braces on. And I go out there, and I'm super short, as we have mentioned, like very vertically challenged. And I go out there, and in 7th grade basketball, I played this so I can say it with confidence,
Sure.
like a great game ends like 14-10. Like there's no scoring in 7th grade basketball, right? Right? And the ball goes up, and the tall girls haven't quite figured out how to be coordinated above their head.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rebounds that come straight to the ground, which was fine by me because that's my domain down there.
Yeah, you're down there.
That's where I'm at. So ball goes up for a shot, rebound comes down through the pile. I diving in there. I grab a hold of this ball, and I go to come out, and I clearly have my lips open because my brackets get stuck to the butt of the girl I'm playing against. And I'm stuck, like real stuck. If you've ever gotten brackets stuck to mesh. And so I've got the ball, and I am pulling. I'm like, pulling against her rear
it's like
end.
The Chinese handcuffs.
Yeah, and everybody sees I have the ball, so they spread out. And here's me with my face stuck to her butt, and I'm yanking against these things. And it's getting worse by the second, because when you pull on your brackets to the mesh, I'm literally just digging in deeper, right? She is trying to get away from me. She's scooting across the court. She is whacking my head with her hand. Finally, I just rip, and you can hear this rip. And I'm standing there. I've got the ball.
Right, yeah.
I look like a piranha. I've got thread hanging out of my mouth, and I look around. My teammates are lying on the ground.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
ref has gone and sat down on the bleachers. He can't even stand up anymore. And I have the ball, and I'm standing there. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, what do I...
Like I'm already socially awkward, right? Like this is a problem. And there is a little over a minute left in the half, and they literally called it because no one could keep playing. They just called it halftime. We go in the locker room, and of course, everybody's dying. My coach is like, well, as long as we don't bite any more butts, I think we'll be fine in the second half, right? Like this is that speech at halftime. But I am focused. I've got this thread. I have a thread problem. I can't get it out. So I decided to take the thread. My brilliant little 7th grade mind is that I'm just going to wrap it around the bracket like that's going to hold, right?
Yeah, right.
So I start wrapping all this thread around my brackets. And then we come out, we start the second half. Well, when you're running in sports, right, you run with your mouth open. So I'm breathing. I would breathe, and the thread would go, and the girl defending me would do just what you're doing now, which was she would just die.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm done. Like I'm vertically challenged, horizontally blessed, and now I'm a butt biter. Like what?
Gosh, my stomach's
This
hurting.
my right? Like I'm dying. But I start to realize this is funny to everybody else, but it's not funny to me.
It wasn't funny to you.
And
right.
I can't see it.
Yeah.
Idea. Every time I blow, that thread blows, she falls over. I can go straight in for a layup. She can't even defend me.
Yeah.
So I start blowing, she starts falling, and I start going to the hole. And I literally set a school record for the most points scored by a 7th grader in a single basketball game because
way.
I got layup after layup after layup, 34 points.
Wow.
Now, no one scores 34 points in the 7th grade, right?
Yeah.
17 times down the court, 17 layups later, 34 points.
No way.
So the next day I show up at school.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, so cool how you bit that girl's butt so that you could score 34 points, right? Now it's intentional.
Yeah.
But what it taught me
man.
was focus.
Yeah.
I changed my focus for a minute. I couldn't change my circumstances.
Yeah.
I couldn't
The
change.
thread's in your teeth.
I can't change the thread. I can't change that the most embarrassing moment known to mankind just happened to me in the 7th grade. I can't change anything. But what I can change is my focus.
Yeah.
And by changing my focus, I changed my outcome. And that is what I've realized
That's
so much in
amazing.
life. As people will change their focus, they can change their belief, they can shift their outcomes, they can become anything that they want to become
Wow.
with a little shift.
I love that story. My sides are hurting. Oh my goodness, that is unbelievable. Seriously, I could just picture the everyone the rip and the.
It was bad.
Thanks for sharing that. You know, I do believe exactly with what you're saying. I often will tell my clients what you focus on increases. You know, I always say, what does that mean? You know, it's like, have you ever bought a new car before and then you notice that car everywhere? It's because you're focused on it. If you focus on all the bad, you're going to notice it everywhere. Right? If you focus on the good, you're going to start noticing good everywhere. And it's no different when you see that in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that is unbelievable story there. Wow. So I want to point out you ended up winning 11 region titles with your team and 4 state titles.
Yes.
The team that only had won 2 games before.
Yeah.
That is impressive, I mean, to say the least.
Yeah, they are awesome. And I love coaching these young linemen.
Yeah, I bet they love you. Because again, you're probably the spark plug, right?
We definitely know how to show up and go to work.
Oh,
yes.
I can only imagine.
Yes.
Seriously, I would, I'm sure the kids just absolutely love you.
Well, we have such a good time together, and what we see then though is that they have the same issues that I had growing up, which
Right.
is what makes it helpful, right? Like
because you get
everyone,
them.
well, everyone has those moments in life where they got too much acne or too many braces. Everyone has a moment where there's something about themselves they don't love, right? Everybody has a moment where some circumstances or some things going on in life are distracting and hard.
Yeah.
Everyone's got that going on. But when you can collectively come together and teach people that they can be who they want to be, that they can shift their focus for a minute, what I believe is that I have an opportunity to teach them not only to how to win on the field, but how to take that into their life and really choose to be who they want to be in life and succeed and accomplish things and not be afraid of the hard parts. We all get to choose our hard, and it's okay to choose the hard that takes you to the good place.
Man, I love that. Choose your hard. Yeah, I've told a client before, it's hard to be a drug addict and it's hard to be clean. Choose your hard. Which one do you want?
Agreed.
Yeah, so beautiful, man. Well, there's so much I want to talk to you about, but I want to talk about level up EQ and emotional intelligence. I think a lot of times when people hear emotional intelligence, what is that? So talk about that, your position there, and how that came about and what you do there.
Yeah, well, we recognize, everybody knows that we should exercise and eat right to take care of our physical body.
Right.
And lots of people do some mental work too. They might do visualization and maybe they even listen to podcasts on mental health, right?
Right, sure.
What do we do to exercise and provide ourselves tools to deal with our emotions? And emotional response is a huge deal. Like you're driving down the road, somebody cuts you off and you lose your marbles and you're thinking, who is that? Or I'm like the Hulk, I just transformed and I don't even know why I did that. Or this happens all the time with mothers, but you're having a great day and you're in the kitchen, but while you're cooking dinner, the doorbell rings, there's a phone call, your pot starts boiling over, and then that is the moment when your child decides to go, mom, 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 mom. And after the 17th mom, you just lose it. Like your lid flips and you are like lost.
Right.
And then you spend the night feeling guilty because you lost your marbles on your 6-year-old who all they wanted to do was show you this really cool drawing.
Yeah.
And you feel terrible.
Right.
What was that emotional response?
Yeah.
How do we get better at that?
Yeah.
That is what emotional intelligence is. It is really learning what triggers emotional response. How do we tie our identity into that? How do we tie our reactions into that? How do we stop living life like life is happening to us and instead we're going to happen to life?
Yeah.
How do we start owning who we are and showing up in every facet of our life in this capacity? How do we do that as a business owner? How do we do that as a high achiever? How do we do that as an athlete? How do we do that as a mother? How do we do that as a person? And that is what emotional intelligence is. We teach people how to handle life in the emotional space, how to get better at it, how to learn what's actually happening, because so many people live their life having these emotional responses that they feel almost out of control.
Right.
I personally dealt with severe anxiety. I had to the tune where I was actually hospitalized at one point for anxiety.
Really?
And it was in that moment where I realized I got 2 choices. I can own this as some kind of label and say, I have anxiety, or I can figure out what's happening to me and I can get better at it. And that's exactly what I did. I learned exactly what is happening in my emotional responses that triggers the feeling and emotion of anxiety. I learned how to find the chain of events that was leading up to it. I learned how to handle myself in that situation. And I haven't had an anxiety attack or even felt anxiety for years now.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
What I learned was that we are capable, just like we're capable of becoming stronger physically, we are capable of building emotional resilience, of building emotional capacity.
Yeah.
And in that capacity, it requires intelligence. We need to know what's happening.
Yeah.
Our bodies are working for us, not against us. Our emotional response is working for us, not against us. It feels like it's against us because we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But the second we can understand it, we can start to improve upon it. We can start to recognize, wow, that's actually really cool. I'm programmed to work in this way, and that's really cool. But it's not serving me well in certain moments in life, so I'm going to figure out how to use what's working for me.
Wow.
And that's really what we teach in emotional intelligence. And we
Very
really
cool.
work with people in 4 quadrants of wellness. So we teach them how to use this emotional intelligence in their physical health, in their businesses and careers and professional lives, in their intellectual or spiritual lives, and also just in their lifestyle with their relationships with the people they interact with, and increase and improve personal inner relations.
Wow.
And that's what we do. And I love it.
Wow. That is amazing. Sounds like a fantastic job.
Oh, it is. I am definitely living the life of my dreams. Every day I get to talk with people, hear their stories, give space for them. And every day they change my life.
Right.
And so I feel like I have the job where my life gets changed every day from the people that I meet. So I feel like sign me up, right? I love it. I just genuinely love it.
No, that's beautiful. You know, obviously we mentioned you have children, and we're talking about belief systems as well and the things that you do, emotional intelligence. Is there certain things you do with your kids on a daily basis that kind of helps them grow and learning these capacities?
Oh, absolutely. We're really conscious in our house about claiming identity, the I am statements that come out.
Mm-hmm.
When you really think about it, you wake up in the morning and you say, I am tired.
Yeah.
You might feel tired, but you just claimed tired as your identity.
Claimed it.
And because you claimed it, what do you see? Shoulders slumped, fuzzy head. Oh my gosh, the whole day. So then how do you act and behave?
Yeah.
Which means how do you feel?
Yeah.
Which means how do you see yourself that day? Super successful, right? Like, oh, man, like you're just like, oh, geez. And we end up creating this day for ourselves that is not great. And it will wind into the next day, and it will reinforce our beliefs that if I wake up tired, that's what it's going to be. Next thing you know, people are telling you when you wake up tired, you look a little tired today. And you're like, geez, you didn't have to tell me. I already know, right? So we're really conscious in our house about telling our kids who they are.
Yeah, I love that.
As parents, I think sometimes we get frustrated and then we say, you are so painful, or you are disobedient, or you are not listening to me,
frustrating.
Or you are so frustrating, or right? And we just gave them an identity.
Just gave them a title.
The last thing in the world I want to tell my child is that they are incapable, or that they are frustrating, or they are disobedient. I would much rather say, you're an amazing kid, but right now you've made a choice to do something that's not okay. Yeah. And we need to talk about that and reinforce who they are. Mm-hmm. I think as a society as a whole, we are doing our kids a disservice because we label them all the time.
Right.
Think about the number of conversations we have about this generation. They're lazy, they're entitled, they don't know how to work. Well, is it any wonder then that when you're working with kids from this generation that they're lazy, entitled, and don't know how to work?
They buy into that belief system.
They buy into the belief system because we are literally creating it.
Yeah.
And we just know that in our home and with our kids, we get to create that belief system.
Yep.
We get to, and so we talk about it. What do you want? Who do you want to be? Who are you? And then we try to latch on to a word that's powerful and meaningful to them. Because one of the things that's remarkably frustrating for parents is trying to get a kid to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And one thing I have learned through human behavior is the root of all motivation is identity. Mm. You will do whatever is in line with your identity because that's what you believe and feel. If you wake up in the morning and you feel energized and excited about life and you're ready to go, what do you accomplish that day? You go to the grocery store, you get your work done, you work out, you do 12 things more than you've ever done on any other day, and you're super productive. Is that because all of a sudden somebody motivated you?
Yeah.
Or because you had a belief and a feeling that you were capable?
Yeah.
With our kids, when we can help them establish their own belief system, that's when it really works. Man. My son Stratton, as a freshman, he was wrestling. He wrestled for the first time, and he had a coach that said to him, "You are a natural wrestler." Well, he came home from school. He'd never wrestled before. He said, "I think I want to wrestle." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because I'm a natural wrestler." Wow. Look at what that one statement. So he takes off and he starts wrestling, and he tells me, I said, "What's your goal? Who do you want to be as a wrestler?" And he said, I want to be a varsity athlete as a freshman." I said, "Sweet, go for it." Well, I didn't have to wake him up for morning practices because he was a varsity wrestler as a freshman. So what does that person act like?
Yep, they act like a varsity wrestler.
They act like a varsity wrestler, which means you show up to practice, you show up on time, you work your butt off, you do your thing. Well, now he did make varsity as a freshman, had a beautiful season. Now let's fast forward to his sophomore year. We didn't do that exercise, and he didn't have an identity established, and his identity was tied to the past as a freshman. Yeah. So he shows up his freshman year, or his sophomore year. Oh my gosh, I'm like dragging the kid to practice. I got to wake him up every morning. He's driving me crazy. I'm like, what is happening right now?
Right.
Like, and I'm trying, and you could throw out 1,200 motivational speeches, but that wasn't going to do it because his identity was tied to the past. Learning from that mistake, we came into the junior year. Stratton, who do you want to be as a wrestler? He said, "I want to be a winner. I don't like losing." I said, "Okay, then be a winner. Be a winner."
Yeah.
And that's all it took.
Yeah, just this little shift like you keep
talking
about.
That kid, it's unbelievable. He shows up to every practice. He comes home after practice and goes to the gym. He takes on personal sessions. He will go work on holidays and weekends. And so proud of him. I mean, he has only lost 2 matches all season, and they've been in championship matches at tournaments. He's undefeated in his region and undefeated in his
amazing.
duels. And this is the kid who I couldn't even drag out of bed the previous season. But as parents, I think we want so badly for our kids. We want it for them so much. Yeah. And we want it for them because we know it will help them. They'll feel better about themselves. They'll love themselves more. And so we push. But what we really need to do is help them push themselves. Yeah. Nothing will drive. We cannot force motivation. But identity is the root of motivation. And if we can help them figure out who they really are, and to the tune where they feel something, they will act in accordance with that. Yeah. And not because you're pushing them, but because you're reinforcing to them who they are, and that's who they want to be.
Wow, that is amazing. You said it like this, correct me if I'm wrong. All motivation is rooted in identity.
Absolutely.
That hit me hard. That is amazing. Wow. Yeah. You're the spark plug at home too, aren't you?
Well, when you've got 3 boys at home like I do. So my daughter just moved out, right? She's in college. So it's me and my boys. And my husband is amazing. And but I love my boys. I love being a present mother of boys.
I can tell. This is wonderful. I've got a question to ask you. If there's someone listening to your voice right now, Natalyn, who's struggling, they're in a dark place, bad belief system that's holding them back, but they're listening to you right now. You've already given some amazing advice, but what would you tell that one person right now who's listening to you?
I would tell them to do 3 steps. Step 1, give voice to your concerns. We beat the snot out of ourselves thinking, I shouldn't think that way. I shouldn't feel that way. But you do think that way and you do feel that way. And as long as you continue to stop giving voice to it, you will always struggle with that. Yeah. Write it down. Get a piece of paper and put it down on the paper.
Yeah, right.
Put a big column and put concerns and just list them. Yeah. And I don't care how pathetically small they might be to anyone else around you. If they're rolling around in your brain, write it down.
Yeah, something going on.
Then after you've given voice to all of it, put a column right next to it at the top that says control. And I want you to look at everything on your list of concerns, and I want you to write in that column anything that is in your concern list that you actually have control over. Put it down. Then make the 3rd column, and that is going to be actionable control. And that is, you're going to take anything that's in that control column that you can physically take action on right now. Write it down in that actionable control column.
Yeah.
And then the fourth column is going to be action in alignment of vision. And what you're going to do is look at that actionable column, and you are going to find that one or two things that you can control, that you can act on purpose every day, that's in alignment with who you really want to be.
Yeah.
Do that. It will change everything. It will change everything to stop being in this place of concern all the time and to do something about becoming the person you know you're capable of becoming.
Yeah.
That is my biggest piece of advice for people in dark places, because we can't get out of dark places unless we give voice to it. Those concerns are real. They're valid. But write them down. Yeah. Get them out. Rip up that side of the column if you need to after you've moved across to the right-hand side. But give voice to it, and then focus on the actionable things that are in alignment to your vision, and it will shift things for you.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. You know, I was thinking about when you were sitting the bench your freshman year and you were upset about it and this and that, but then the thing you could control, I mean, I know you weren't doing this exact exercise in that moment, but you started thinking about being grateful and this gratitude, and all of a sudden, hey, you're in, you know, and how you ended up playing and you realized something there. But that's what was in your control. You could change your attitude. Instead of being the victim, you started going, no, I'm grateful.
Yep.
And, you know, that's where my head was going as you were saying that. But that's beautiful advice, and I love that exercise. Yeah, I'm going to actually have my clients do that.
Yeah, it's such a good exercise. And I have people all the time that tell me, yeah, but Natty, I have this vision, but I don't know how to act in alignment to it because I don't know how to reach it. It's such a big vision, or it's so far away, or I feel so small or incapable or inadequate. And to those people, I say the how you get there is not your business.
Yeah.
I had, when I was an intern and first getting into this space, I had a chance to intern for a woman who went on stage and she taught, and I was her gopher girl. I was go for coffee, go for green bananas, go for air control, right?
Going.
Like I was gopher. Go book the hotel, go get the car. And I watched this woman on stage. She was an author, she was a speaker, and I knew that's what I wanted to do with my life. But I was the gopher girl. And how in the world do you end up on stage with a book written anyways? Like, I didn't know how, so I just kind of set that vision aside. Well, we get stuck in a green room one time when the power went out. We were waiting for generators to power things up in a storm. She looks right at me. She goes, what do you want? Why are you here? And I thought, oh my gosh, I've worked for this woman for 3 months. She doesn't even know who I am.
Yeah, right.
This is not good, right?
Yeah, right.
She goes, no. I know what you're doing. What I want to know is, why are you here? What do you really want? And she just got up in my grill, and finally I kind of like lost my cool for a second. I was like, I want to be you. I want to speak on stage. I want to write books. I want to inspire other people. And she goes, well, then why aren't you doing that? I said, I don't know how to do that. And she looked right at me and she said, young lady, the how is none of your damn business. Become the woman worthy of the stage, and the stage will show up.
Wow.
And it just took me, and I thought, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was so busy putting everything out of my control that I wasn't doing anything that could be in my control.
Yeah.
So I started outlining, what does it look like to be worthy of that stage? And I knew what kind of person I needed to become. I knew what kind of things I wanted to teach. And I knew I needed life experience in those spaces to do that.
Yeah.
And I started living my life on purpose to become a person worthy of that stage. Wow. And the shocking part is that I was still functioning in a capacity of a gopher girl, and it was only 4 months later. So she had me start writing my book. She had me start practicing speaking in the mirror to become this person worthy of the stage, sharing stories. And 4 months later, she was supposed to take the stage, and her flight got canceled, and there was nobody there to give the keynote presentation. And the guy looks and he said, well, what are we going to do? And I said, I'm going to speak. And he said, do you speak? I said, yes, I am a speaker.
That's right. I love it.
And I took the stage and I spoke, and a gentleman came up to me afterwards and he said, have you ever written down your stories? Because if not, he goes, I own a publishing company. I'd love to publish your book. Could I have even planned that?
No.
You can't plan these things. The how is not your business. Get out of your own way.
Wow.
Become worthy of it. And let it show up for you. Focus on what you can control. Focus on the actionable things that have alignment with your vision.
Yeah.
Do that. And when you do that on purpose every day, you start to live life. Life stops happening to you and you start happening to life, and things get really fun. You have an opportunity to be the spark plug of your own life in those situations.
Dang. Bringing the heat here, Natty. Holy cow. Wow. I love that. What an amazing thing. That is so true, though. I hope everyone listening to this is listening to this. Are you listening? This is powerful stuff, folks. And I'm telling you right now, you're probably going to have to re-listen to this because she shared so much. I mean, look at the... I don't usually take notes. I got more notes on this thing. I'm going, oh my gosh. Everything she's saying, I'm writing down. It's fantastic. Man, it's amazing.
Well, my only hope is that somebody listening can take at least one of these principles and feel something and do something.
Yeah.
Feeling it takes us only halfway. But again, latch into that identity, latch into that belief and that feeling to drive action.
Yeah.
And that action will frame that identity and solidify it, and it'll just start to change everything.
It's amazing. You know, Amy told me I would love you, and I do.
Oh,
I mean, literally, I was like, I never know what to expect when I get a referral. I mean, I knew you were going to be good. I mean, I'm blown away.
Oh, thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I got to be honest with you. I'm really impressed with you. Stuff I needed to hear today, stuff I'm going to incorporate and share with my clients. You know, again, when I hear someone that's passionate about belief systems, I perk up because that's where I'm at too. And wow, you're a speaker, trainer, coach, motivational speaker, the spark plug in most everyone's life, including your families. And I can only imagine what your former, they wouldn't be teammates. If you're the coach, they are the players.
Yeah,
Sorry.
my players.
It took me a minute to get but I'm sure that what they think of you is just unbelievable. The things you've taught them, not just about the sport, but about life lessons and stuff. So I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
It has been my pleasure.
I mean, truly, thank you so much for taking time to do this.
Yes.
We had this scheduled a little while ago and things get in the way, holidays and other stuff. But thank you for, taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I hope everybody on here has the opportunity to find who you are, believe in it, act upon it, and allow yourself the opportunity to become it.
Yeah, I love it. If someone does want to reach out to you and learn more about what you do and use your services or whatever, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can find me on Instagram or through Facebook Messenger. They can DM me.
Okay.
Or they can go to nattyo.com. That's my website. So nattyo.com is a website.
Okay.
Or that same Natty O is Natty O Lewis is my handle on both Facebook and Instagram.
Gotcha.
And
Cool.
they can find me there and DM me, and I'd be happy to talk to them about what we do.
Yeah. Well, I hope that they do. I'll put those links in the show notes, and that way they'll be able to get right to it. So
awesome.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you brighten my day. I'm telling you that. I feel the energy. I feel the passion, man. I'm like ready to go. Let's go. So thank you. And thanks for everyone tuning in. I told you this is going to be good, man. And you're probably thinking what I'm thinking, like, wow, that's on another level. So please share this with everyone you know. If you have kids, let them listen to Natty. Let them listen to what she's saying because they need to hear this message. I mean, we do as adults too. But if you're a mom or a dad and you got kids, you're not sure how to connect with them, and share this episode with them, and then you guys can talk about it. Take notes. Do whatever it takes. Listen to what she said to do and start implementing these things. Reach out to Natty if you have a question. You can reach out to me, as you guys know that. But thank you for tuning in. Again, thanks to my sponsors. I love you guys for believing in me. And again, Natty, one last time, thank you for being here.
Thank you.